The fifth most common question is that why does Islam permit a Muslim man to have more than one wife? Earlier this misconception, it was at the top of the charts. But now it has come down to number 5. Jihad and terrorism has overtaken. The question is, why does Islam permit polygamy? Polygamy is divided into 2 types, polygyny and polyandry. Polygyny is where a man marries more than one wife, and polyandry is where a woman marries more than one husband. In Islam, limited polygyny is permitted, whereas polyandry, it is completely prohibited. In fact, Qur'an is the only religious book on the face of the earth which says that marry only one. There is no other religious book on the face of the earth which says that marry only one. Whether it be the Talmud, whether it be the Old Testament, whether it be the Ramayana, whether it be the Bible, Qur'an is the only religious book on the face of the earth which says that marry only one. And if you read Ramayana, the father of Sri Ram, King Dashrath, he had more than one wife. According to Mahabharata, Krishna, how many wives did he have? 4, 10, 100, 1,000, 16,108. If Krishna can have 16,108 wives, why can't we Muslim have maximum 4? Even if you read the Christian scriptures, according to the Bible, a Christian can marry as many wives as he wishes. It was later on that the Christian church, they put a restriction and said that a Christian should marry only one wife. Even if you read the Jewish scriptures, the Talmud, the Old Testament, Abraham, he had 3 wives. Solomon had 700 wives. So even according to the Jewish scriptures, a Jew can marry as many wives as he wishes. It was later on that Rabbi Joshim bin Yehuda, he issued an edict against it and said that a Jew should marry only one wife. Even the Jewish community that lived among the Muslims, even they married more than one wife till as late as 1950. It was later on that the chief rabbi of Israel, he put a ban, he put a restriction and said that a Jew should marry only one wife. Whereas according to the scriptures, a Jew can marry as many wives as he wishes. Same thing in the Hindu scriptures. A Hindu can marry as many wives as he wishes. If you read the statistics of the status of women in Islam published on page number 66 and 67, which showed that Muslims did 4.31% polygamous marriages, whereas the Hindus did 5.06%, 0.75% more than the Muslims. Even though it is illegal for a Hindu to have more than one wife, after it being illegal, the Hindus were more polygamous as compared to the Muslims. I don't know if it was legal how much the percentage would have reached to. But according to the Hindu scriptures, a Hindu can marry as many wives as he wishes. It was later on that the Indian government, the Indian Penal Code, in 1954, in the Special Marriage Act, they put a ban and said that a Hindu should marry only one wife. Whereas, according to the scriptures, a Hindu can marry as many wives as he wishes. 4, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, no upper limit. Let's see what the glorious Qur'an talks about this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the glorious Qur'an, in Surah Nisa, chapter number 4, verse number 3, فَانْكِحُوا مَا طَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ النِّسَاءِ مَثْنَى وَثُلَاثَ وَرُبَاعَ فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ أَلَّا تَعْدِلُوا فَوَاحِدًا. Marry women of your choice in 2s, 3s or 4s, but if you fear that you cannot do justice, then marry only one. So only if you can do justice, you can marry more than one wife. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the glorious Qur'an, in Surah Nisa, chapter number 4, verse number 129. وَلَن تَسْتَطِيعُوا أَن تَعْدِلُوا بَيْنَ النِّسَاءِ وَلَوْ حَرَصْتُمْ فَلَا تَمِيلُوا كُلَّ الْمَيْلِ فَتَذَرُهَا كَالْمُعَلَّقَةِ. And you will never be, and you cannot do justice between your wives, but do not turn away from them altogether. Many people think that it is compulsory in Islam to have more than one wife. Whereas it is mubah, it is optional in Islam to have more than one wife. But if you have more than one wife, and if you cannot do justice, then you are in a problem. So only if you can do justice, you can marry more than one wife. Let's analyze what are the logical and scientific reasons why Islam allows a man to have more than one wife. If we analyze, male and female are born in an equal proportion. But if you ask any medical doctor, he will tell you that the female sex, it is a stronger sex. It has got more immunity than the male sex. So, in the pediatric age itself, there are more deaths in males as compared to females. As life goes on, there are deaths due to drug addiction, due to alcoholism, due to wars that take place. In all these cases, there are more men who die as compared to the women. And the statistics tell us that the average lifespan of a woman is more than the average lifespan of a man. Today in the world, there are more females as compared to males, except in some third world countries like India, because female feticide and female infanticide is practiced. And there was a BBC report on the program assignment. The topic was, "Let Her Die." A British reporter by the name of Emily Beckenham states that every day in India, more than 3,000 fetuses are being aborted after they identify that they're females. And if you multiply this by 365, more than 1 million fetuses are being aborted every year after they identify that they're females. And according to Tamil Nadu Government Hospital, out of 10 females born alive, 4 are put to death. And if this female infanticide stops in India and in the third world countries, in a couple of decades, the female population, it will outnumber the male population. Today in the world, there are more females as compared to males. In New York alone, there are 1 million females more than males. In USA alone, there are 7.8 million females more than males. In UK alone, there are 4 million females more than males. In Germany alone, there are 5 million females more than males. In Russia alone, there are 9 million females more than males. And God alone knows how many million females are more than males in the complete world. If I agree with the non-Muslim that every man should marry only one wife, and suppose if your sister, or suppose if my sister, happens to live in USA, and the market is saturated, every man has found a life partner. And suppose if your sister, or suppose if my sister, happens to be one of those 7.8 million females who have not found life partners, the only two options she has is marry a man who already has a wife, or to become public property. Someone might say, public property, such a harsh word. It's the most sophisticated word I can use. Having mistresses in America is very common. The American statistics tell us that an average American, he has 8 different sexual partners before he settles down with one. Some may have 10, some may have 20, but before an average American he gets married, he has 8 different sexual partners before he settles down with one. How many he has after he married, the statistics doesn't tell that. Having mistresses in America is very common. 10, 20, no problem. But having more than one wife does not go down their throat. You know, when a woman, she is a second wife, she has protection, she gets honor, she lives a peaceful life. Whereas when a woman, she is a mistress, she lives a life of disgrace, she has no protection. Therefore, in Islam, a man is allowed to have more than one wife in order to protect the woman. And under normal circumstances, no woman would like to share a husband. But a good Muslimah who knows the situation of the world would not mind to share a husband in order to protect her sister from becoming public property. And if you ask any modest woman, what would she choose? To marry a man who already has a wife, or to become public property? Any modest woman, she would choose the first one.